The Euros are finally complete. Italy triumphs over England. So we'll talk about that tonight. But then I guess it's time to get back to the Premier League. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. Thanks for listening. Red Card Radio is a weekly look, or bi-weekly in the summer, look at the Premier League from three friends who support different teams. My name is James Tiffany. I support Arsenal. Up here on the top row with me is Brad. He supports Chelsea. And down below us is Sean. He's our Tottenham Hotspur supporter. And of course, we are in the summer interlull right now between last season and next season. So we're talking about all things European football right now, which is the Euros. But before we get started, as we always do, however you listen to us, we really appreciate if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, do all those things. Sean, tell them what you're going to do if they don't like the podcast.
If you don't like it and give it 5 stars and review it, I hope your lawnmower breaks down.
Oh man!
Wow.
That's that's more than a inconvenience. That's more than a mild inconvenience, Sean.
Oh, it's a mild one, but not a very like major fix, but just something where your grass is really tall, but you can't mow it for like a week.
If you want to complain to Sean about that, you can find him on Twitter at whiteheart_Sean. Brad is going to be at KSBradG on Twitter, and I'm at James Tiffany on Twitter. If you have any comments about that, give you guys a quick rundown about what we're going to talk about on today's episode, and the third episode of our preseason. We're going to talk about our comments from our last video. That was our last podcast about 2 weeks ago. Got a couple comments we'll talk about. We're going to talk about the Euros, kind of wrap that up, put a nice little bow on it for everyone before we dive in kind of a little bit into what's going on with our football clubs and how the preseason for those clubs is now, I guess, officially underway, and what things have happened with our clubs. Hopefully, we'll be in and out tonight, but we make no we make no specific promises. But as always, let's talk about our comments from last week. We had 2. Of course, it's Jimmy and Will, both on YouTube. Jimmy had his comment. It was about Hazard, because we had a conversation 2 weeks ago about Eden Hazard being the captain of Belgium, and he agreed with Sean that it seems strange that Hazard was the captain of Belgium. And so he was wondering if there's some like interpersonal locker room things going on. Sean's giving us the Emi Martinez "I just won the Copa America" celebration.
Or Generation X, but we'll go Emi Martinez.
Brad, I said Emi Martinez because that's on the nose. That just happened. So Brad, this is a football podcast. And so I understand. I related it to a current day football thing.
Yeah, and
yeah, we see what you did, but it was still a suck at time.
It could have been an Arsenal player carrying the trophy, but it was an Aston Villa player. But I digress. Back to you. And Sean, so is Jimmy right about everything?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's just right this week. Okay. I don't know that. I don't know what you're referencing, but that seems like a setup. So I'm just going to say no.
He was the original one that called you out on your Juventus is as prestigious as the top.
Oh, I thought that was Will.
Oh, it's both of them.
It's both of them.
Oh,
because Jimmy was first, then Will heard it later.
Well, he also did his second comment, Jimmy's second comment, which was just kind of more tongue-in-cheek, was that you shouldn't eat something nasty if Tottenham signed Big Sam, is that you should have to do an episode wearing a Juventus jersey. That was his next comment.
All right.
But
I will say that signing Fabio Paratici, I believe that's a step up coming from Juventus. You leave the bigger club to go to another big club, and that's when you're a rising star in the league. That's supposed to be a step down to these people. Okay.
So
I'm just saying.
You're arguing that Paratici's...
a guy on the on the ladder up in success, and that was supposedly a step down. I'm doing the air quotes for people on the podcast.
I mean,
okay.
I think it is.
I think it was a lateral move. It's a lateral move.
It's not.
I mean, it's a lateral move if the quarterback like pitches the football 15 yards behind him. Is that the kind of lateral move we're talking about?
Hey, listen.
Hey, this is a football podcast.
On their climb up the ladder of success would not go backwards 15 yards.
He's been there 10 years.
Yeah, he won 9 straight Scudetti.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like they have 9 straight trophies.
They won a couple.
Sean, how many trophies does Tottenham have? Is it the same as as many are behind you? Is your closet as big as the Tottenham closet?
This is the Tottenham trophy case.
Yeah, Sean.
I'm literally broadcasting for everybody not watching on YouTube. I'm literally broadcasting from the Tottenham trophy case.
Yeah,
inside of it
at White Hart Lane. He's yeah.
That's why they call me White Hart Sean.
Well, that took longer than I anticipated. Our next comment was from Will. He brought up something unrelated to something that we talked about at all on last time's episode, but he wants to hear our take on UEFA's getting rid of the away goals rule in their club competition. So essentially, UEFA has had for many years the away goals rule in their knockout stage of their club competitions, whereby which away teams' goals are weighted more than home team goals. So UEFA scrapped that entirely. They've gotten rid of it. How do you guys feel about it? Brad, we'll go to you first because your team's playing in a legitimate European competition next year.
So I hate it. I don't like this change because it gives no meaning to home games. But I can understand where UEFA was coming from in the fact that, it's a cup tie, so it's essentially half is played at one stadium, half is played at another stadium. So why should the goals matter if it's all one big 180-minute game?
Okay.
So that's my take on it. But yeah, no, I don't like it. I like the drama of having, if you're up 2-1, and if they get that goal to draw, but it's an away goal, so it pushes them up and above you. I love that drama in the quarters and the semis and the finals. No, not the finals, quarters and semis.
Round of 16 as well. Yeah. Sean, you got a thought?
It stinks. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just dislike the format of penalty kicks in general. I mean, they bring drama, but it's like being tied, and I understand that these guys run around for 90 minutes and then an extra 30, and then you can't just keep doing that forever because people are going to keel over. If they're still tied after 120, that's 2 hours of running. With largely, I know the Euros had 5 subs, but largely only 3 substitutions. You got to have an end to it, but it's like in the NBA if you were still tied at the end of overtime and you just did a free throw off or a 3-point competition.
That would be so boring.
It's just not the point. It's a team game, and now you're having individuals face each other. And yeah, we'll talk about it later, but it came into play in the England-Italy game where I just didn't think that was a good representation of the game, of how good the game was. I'll leave it there, and we'll talk about it later.
So my take on it is that I think you're going to get to see. So the away goals rule incentivized away teams to play football and to be progressive and try and score goals. Now you're just going to see teams, when they play away from home, just not play. They're just going to sit and they're going to defend and they're going to defend and they're going to defend. And if they only lose 1-0, that's not bad. It's a good result, But if there will never be an instance where an away team is incentivized to chase a game down 1-0. You know what I mean? It will never be in their best interest to try and tie the game or win the game. It's always in their best interest to not give up another goal. Whereas the away goals rule that situation still existed, whereby it's not in their best interest to concede another goal. But if they did score, that's a huge increase in their propositions of advancing. So I think it's stupid. I think it's a stupid change. I think it's a gut. I think it's bad. I would have liked to see changes to the away goals rule. My biggest issue with the away goals rule is that I hated when my team was the home team in the second leg. I did not like being the home team in the second leg of a European tie with away goals rule, because having extra time weight away goals in the same way that it does through regular time, I think is unfair to the team that has to play home in the second leg. Giving the team an extra 30 minutes to score heavierly weighted goals than the other team, I think is not good. So what I would have done to change it is I would have kept away goals rule as it is through normal time, but then it would not carry any weight in extra time. That would have been my change, but they didn't call me. So, but it seems like none of us like it.
Did you not get your consultation fee for that one?
No, and I think maybe it's because Arsenal are not playing in Europe next year for the first time in 26 years, 25 years, or whatever the hell it is.
Wow.
I'm not salty. I'm not salty.
Don't worry about it. Next year will be the second time in 27 years. So
we're gonna win the league. It's all good. All right, let's talk about the Euros. So, like I said, Italy did triumph over England in the final. Game was tied 1-1 going to extra time, and no one scored in extra time, so it went to penalties. Italy triumphed 3-2. But to kind of set the stage a little bit for you, in the quarterfinals, Spain beat Switzerland in penalties. Belgium lost to Italy. I bring that up specifically because this guy over here picked the number one ranked team to win the Euros.
Favorites, so don't act like you did something special either. You picked the favorites of the tournament.
It's interesting now that Italy were the favorites of the tournament.
They were.
You're just
how? And what?
And they were favorites in the game against Belgium versus England.
Brad, this is
the Belgium-Italy game. Italy was favorite.
This is revisionist history. At the beginning of the Euros,
you're whitewashing this.
At the beginning of the Euros, we all picked teams. Brad picked Belgium. I picked Italy. Sean picked Portugal, though he was debating between Portugal and England. So maybe you should have picked England. But that would have been a laughably bad choice. Anyway, I bring that up to meme on you, Brad, because Italy beat Belgium. I beat you. Seems, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's rare that happens, isn't it?
We did the double on you. We did the league double on you this year, bro. We beat you in the FA Cup final most recently, so you can sit down. Czech Republic lost to Denmark.
I don't like sitting down with
Denmark.
I don't like sitting down with that.
Didn't beat Arsenal for it, so Denmark beat Czech Republic 2-1 to keep their fairy tale alive. England, in the single game that they played away from Wembley Stadium in this tournament, the one game that they were not at Wembley Stadium, beat Ukraine 4-0 in Rome. In the semifinals, Italy and Spain played an interesting game, but Italy triumphed in penalties 4-2. England beat Denmark 2-1. And sorry that my cat is going crazy in the background. That brought us to the final. Like I brought up, Italy beat Spain. Italy beat England 3-2 on penalties. Luke Shaw, who is the world's greatest right back, according to certain segments of Twitter.
That would be it. He would play some left. So that would be
excuse
impressive.
me. Apologies. Excuse me. I meant left back.
You better apologize to Reece James.
That would be really impressive. Actually, if he was the world's greatest right back. Also,
I bet certain segments of Twitter would agree with me that he's the world's best right back. But Luke Shaw had a really impressive goal in the second minute. Really impressive goal.
I want to back up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's just touch on a couple of good games.
Yeah, for sure. Back up.
The Czech Republic-Denmark game was a really fun game to watch because Czech Republic played their bollocks off the entire tournament, and I just thought that was a really fun game because Denmark are playing inspired, Czech Republic are playing their balls off,
Let me comment on your supposition there. Czech Republic were very defensively resolute throughout the tournament until they played Denmark and just decided to not play any defense. Like they gave up a header on a corner to a man standing on the penalty spot, unmarked, literally unmarked.
Sometimes you lose a
It was
sometimes you lose a man.
It was really bad.
Sometimes you don't get the head count right, man. It happens.
I mean, it was really bad. But
it was just a fun game to watch.
I'll let you continue.
It was a fun game to watch. I thought Belgium-Italy was stupid.
What?
Yeah,
I thought it was a good game.
I thought it was a pretty good game. I thought it was a pretty good game too.
But the game of the quarters was Switzerland-Spain. That game was out of control. And then Summer was standing on his head to steal a. I don't know if that's a soccer term, but it's a hockey term. They say goalies are standing on their head when they're blocking everything. Summer was out of control because Spain were peppering him, and he just wasn't giving up anything. And then helped win it in penalty kicks.
You want to know what the issue with that match was? Granit Xhaka was suspended. He couldn't play in that match. If Granit Xhaka,
that was the yes.
Yeah, it was the quarters. Yeah.
If Granit Xhaka plays in that game, Switzerland win. Believe.
I believe so. You could visibly see that Switzerland were not the same without Granit Xhaka. It was visible.
Agreed.
He just was a field general the entire tournament.
Yep.
And I don't. For those keeping tally at home, I don't compliment Arsenal players a lot, but you're going to hear me compliment an Arsenal player later too.
Two tonight.
It's gonna be 2. But yeah, and then the semis were. I mean, they were. That was a good little bit, I guess.
What about that Sterling penalty? In the semifinal, we got
any comments there?
It wasn't a penalty. It was not. There is not one universe in the single universe or the multiverse that was a penalty.
Yeah,
he got barely bumped.
That was a real bad call.
There was enough contact that I don't think VAR would have overturned it.
Clearly, they didn't. So
right, but I don't think you couldn't make the argument for them to overturn it when you saw the contact. But it's a very, very, very soft penalty.
If it's not,
to be 100% clear, that was soft.
If it's not a penalty, if it's not called a penalty on the pitch, VAR is not turning it into a penalty.
Correct.
The only reason it was a penalty was because there was technically contact, and so it wasn't a clear and obvious error.
Right.
And then how about Michael saving it, though, from Harry Kane?
Yeah.
I mean, he was able to put back the rebound for those that didn't watch, but he got the save. He did his job.
I joked that Harry Kane wanted a goal from open play. That was my joke. Was that he was tired of not having a goal from open play, so he.
I'm gonna jump ahead here, but Harry Kane takes that penalty, but doesn't shoot a penalty for England.
What are you talking about? He took the first penalty.
Oh, he did? I missed the first penalty. I'm sorry. I was walking. I missed the first one. I'm sorry.
Brad.
I'm sorry. My bad. I missed the first round of shots. I really thought he didn't take one. I was like, what?
No, he did take one. His penalty was very good, actually. Not as good as Harry Maguire's. Harry Maguire's penalty was insane. Yeah.
Harry Maguire took out a camera.
Yeah, he destroyed a camera. That was amazing. I don't know. I think for me, it seemed like everything was pretty chalk in all of the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals. I think
you thought it was chalk, Italy over Belgium.
That's the one toss.
Hold on,
but I think they're pretty evenly matched. Italy is very good in my opinion.
Now
it was
we know
140 to 240 were the odds at kickoff.
I don't.
With Belgium being the underdog.
I'm stupid. I don't understand betting odds.
If you bet $100, you'd win 140.
If Belgium
bet on Italy, if you bet on Italy, You would have gotten $140 for your $100.
Well, was
you
that
bet on Belgium to win? You would have gotten $240
okay,
on your $100.
Was that before we found out that KDB was playing? Because Hazard was injured, and the thought was that KDB was also injured. So were those odds made before or after the lineups came out?
I think this was the end of it.
Hazard wasn't injured; he was winded from actually playing a game.
No, he was injured again. At 3 p.m. Eastern, it was 140 to 220. I'm sorry. Take down $20.
I don't know.
From actually running.
Okay, so I'm right. I think I'm right that it was chalk.
Yes.
That brings us to the final.
One thing I want to bring up before the final is the fact that England had the biggest cakewalk to the final. They played
easiest.
What did they play? 6 games in the Euros? Is that what it is, or 7?
They played 7.
7, and 6 of those games were played at Wembley.
I mean, they don't choose that.
I understand that, but it reeks of collusion, and it's not a good look in my opinion.
It's not a good look. I agree with you there, but also, if a country's got a problem with it, Chiellini, step up and have your country host the damn Euros.
Rome, there were games played.
There were games
played in Italy.
England played. England's
host
one away
country
game
stepped up, so that's why it was everywhere.
England's one away game was in Rome,
and Wembley's the biggest, right? Wembley's the biggest, other than like Camp Nou.
I mean, not. I mean,
Probably one of the nicer
ones.
Wembley is a nice stadium. Like I'm not trying to say that Wembley's not a nice stadium, but like it just seemed like this was
script was set.
Yeah, it seems strange that this was the path that the winners of England's group were going to get when England looked on paper like they were going to win their group.
Yeah.
So it just seemed a little like what do they travel? I don't know what the distance from London to Rome is and back from Rome to London, but it's probably less than 1,000 kilometers. So like there were some teams that were playing in Spain and then had to go to Baku, and then had to go from Baku back to Spain.
Well, don't blame England for that. Blame
it's UEFA.
Whoever put Baku in there.
Yeah,
I think also Denmark. I think Denmark played a lot of games at home as well.
Every single team that was in the semifinals played their 3 group stage games at home. That was something. But I digress. I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, the final. Let's talk about the final. It was a good game. I really enjoyed it. The first half, England definitely dominated, in my opinion. They controlled the midfield, and Italy did not look like they were going to do anything. There were a couple occasions where Chiesa got the ball, and he did Chiesa things because he's a beast.
Absolutely.
Who does he play for, Sean? Do you know?
No, I don't actually know.
It's a little club in Turin. They wear white and black. I don't know. Sure, it's.
It's Torino.
It's a downgrade.
Torino wears red, bro. Yeah, he's a beast. He's a monster. And there were a couple occasions where he looked like he was going to score. But that Luke Shaw goal, I was questioning Gary Southgate coming into the game based on his lineup, bringing Trippier back on. But it kind of paid off for him in the second minute when Trippier got a assist to Luke Shaw, which was a beautiful goal. But it really looked like Italy wasn't doing much in the first half. But in the second half, I really think that Italy controlled the game. And I think that they did a good job of kind of like tightening the screws on England. And I can't think of many opportunities that England had in the second half. Maybe I'm not remembering them, but England did not look very threatening to me, or I can't remember England being very threatening to me. The one situation where England were threatening, Giorgio Chiellini put Saka into the ground with a chokehold, but that was in the 90th minute. Do you want to talk about that, Sean? Do you think that should have been a red card?
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to say no to racism. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow,
that's funny.
No, he's clearly beat. So, the letter of the law. Correct me if I'm
I will
regurgitating this incorrectly. Is a foul that is not intentional should be cautioned with a yellow or just a foul. With intent should be a red.
Yeah.
That was clearly intentional. He grabbed his collar and yanked him down.
I don't think that there's anything.
You think that?
I don't think there's anything
unintentional.
No. It was clearly intentional. I think intentional.
Yes.
I think intentional fouls by the letter of the law are always yellow cards, as long as they're not violently intentional.
And that wasn't violently intentional.
Getting choke slammed by your jersey?
He pulled his shirt. Shirt pulling is always a yellow card, right? So an intentional foul, a professional foul in that situation, that was a professional foul where you're pulling someone's shirt is always a yellow card by like the letter of the law. You could make an argument that it was violent conduct because of where he pulled his shirt, but I think that I don't think it's a good argument personally. I don't think it was a red card. I think a yellow card is very fair there. It's clearly a yellow card.
I think he should be banned from the sport. Period.
You're so salty.
I hate Chiellini.
I don't know why. He's such a good dude. Like he's
not.
He's
ugly.
He's ugly. You look at him, and he just has such joy in what he does. He just is always.
He had a whole lot of joy yanking that young man by the throat and throwing him to the ground.
Oh man, I was actually really torn when I saw that because I was like, I'm clearly rooting for Italy because I picked them and I thought I wanted them to win, but I'm like, oh, not Saka, please not Saka. I had another feeling. Of that later in the game as well. But extra time, I don't really. Extra time was boring.
Where do we get to the part of the pod where we rip Southgate?
Hold on.
I'm ready for that.
Let's do it.
How do you not get the ball? How do you not get the ball to Harry Kane at all? Like, how does Harry Kane not touch the ball in the box for the entire game? 120 minutes.
I mean,
Giorgio Chiellini, Leonardo Bonucci.
Bonucci and Chiellini shut that down.
These two, they're beasts.
That's why Mount needed to not be there. Sorry.
Jack Grealish.
No, I agree. I think Sterling and Saka should have started.
Yes, if you're going to run that formation where it's three in the back with Shaw and Trippier as the wing backs and Phillips and Rice in front of them, the top three cannot be Sterling, Kane, Mount. It has to be three creative players.
Mount is creative, but I understand what you're trying to say
in a different way.
Correct.
Like, it has to be Saka or Grealish.
Correct. Or, yeah.
Mount's work rate is what gets him to where he is, and that's the reason to have him on the field. His work rate is incredible.
Yeah, Grealish had a huge impact when he came on. Like, England
when I
finally
saw the starting
moving.
lineup, I thought Southgate is playing for a draw.
He always plays for a draw.
That was my first thought. Was why?
Which is it's reprehensible when you're playing a European Cup final at home in front of 60,000 English fans. That's reprehensible.
What are you doing?
Half of them who didn't pay for tickets and broke in.
It was great. I love that, actually.
Yeah, it seemed. And then his substitutions.
He finally made substitutions. Hold on, pause. Like, yes, he made substitutions, but like, what?
I mean, Saka in the 70th makes sense. I forget what, but he brought Grealish on really late, didn't he?
Yeah. Grealish, I believe, was in early extra time.
I need to find out his substitutions. Here we go. Give me. I don't want match. Go. Nope. I don't want that. Players. Here we go. What? Google. I hate you.
Yeah, Grealish came on the 99th for Mount.
Okay.
He brings Henderson on in the 74th minute, and then takes him off at the end, which I get because you're getting ready for penalties. I don't
get that at all.
I
really, really disliked the Rashford and Sancho. I really, really disliked those substitutions.
I don't know why they're in the top 5 shots.
What's up, Sean?
I have a reason that I hate it the most.
Go for it.
I don't think Rashford played a minute in the Euros. And you bring him in on the 119th minute of the European final. Maybe if he came on late in a game.
Yeah, he played some. He played some as the Kane replacement. But
what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're putting this kid in a bad position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their first touch of the ball is a penalty shot.
Yep.
Yeah,
It worked for Harry
he's been
Kane,
sitting
though.
he's been sitting for 2 hours.
Yep.
I heard that, Brett.
I know.
That was his first touch of the ball.
Yeah,
it's just an impossible position for Rashford.
It's an impossible position for Sancho as well.
And Saka.
So this is
I don't know why you have Saka anchor it. Like I boggles my mind.
Yeah, this is my bone to pick with Gareth Southgate. Brought to you by.
Here we go. I was ready for this.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Actually, it's not, but Buffalo Wild Wings. If you would like to sponsor,
They have new dry rubs.
If you want to sponsor this segment, we'd appreciate it. Gareth Southgate thought it was in England's best interest to have Bukayo Saka, 19-year-old Bukayo Saka, anchor the English penalty kicking team. So there was an interesting tweet that came up on the Arsenal subreddit, and I don't know if I still have it pulled up. I don't believe I do. I'll summarize it for you. Essentially, it listed all of the senior players for England and their penalties taken versus penalties scored. And it only listed players who had taken penalties in their senior career. And of course, Harry Kane's at the top of that by a wide margin. But then you've got people like, Maguire and things like that. Go down the list, Rashford, things. At the bottom of that list is Saka. He has taken 0 penalties in his senior career. 0 penalties in his senior career, and we think it's prudent.
And this is, just to clarify, this is for club also.
Yeah. Club and country.
This is club and country.
Taking 0 penalties in a professional football match, and we think he's the guy. This is a horrible decision, in my opinion. It's a horrible position to put Saka in. He missed it. It was not a great penalty, but the dude hasn't taken any penalties. It boggles my mind that Raheem Sterling, that Jack Grealish don't step
Luke
up.
Shaw.
That they don't step up and say, "I want that penalty."
Luke Shaw.
I just don't understand it.
Declan's even gotten a penalty this year.
But beyond that, I can look at that in a vacuum, and I think that's a terrible decision. But I'm going to back up even more because he brings Rashford and Sancho on, who haven't played at all in the entire game, put them 3rd and 4th, and they all miss. Every single one of them miss. Rashford hits the post with his first kick of a football in the game. Sancho is saved by Donnarumma, and then Saka is saved by Donnarumma. It's just a calamitous order for him to take. When he has all of these senior players, well-capped English internationals, not taking penalties. I think it's really, really bad. He's gotten a lot of things right in the tournament. I think he's gotten a lot of things wrong in the tournament, Gareth Southgate. I mean, they made it to the final, Sean. They made it to the finals. So you have to give him some amount of credit.
I got the next bone.
Yeah, but you said it yourself. They had 6 of 7 games.
I agree.
At home.
I mean,
I got the next bone.
But
finish your bone.
I'm really upset for Saka, because he didn't deserve that. He's a beast, and this is what I want. This is what James wants to happen in the first game that Saka is back for Arsenal, because he's not going to be back for the first game of the season probably, because he's going to get 3 weeks now, and won't rejoin the team until early August. But in the first game that he plays, and there's a penalty given for Arsenal, I want Aubameyang to give him the ball and let Saka take the penalty. And I want Saka to score the penalty. That's all I want. But I'm just disgusted with Southgate. I think it's horrible.
Well, I got a different bone.
Tell us.
Southgate not only is the reason they lost, he was the hindrance that they overcame to even get to the final.
Okay.
Wow.
They only got to the final because it was a collection of world-class talent that overcame his dumbassery. The first game they played, this is the first game in the group stage, he starts Kieran Trippier at left back.
That's true. He did that.
That's true.
Like, what the hell are you doing? You have Chilwell and Luke Shaw. What are you doing? So that was the first dumbassery that I saw. And let me tell you about the rest of it. Saka has clearly been the most electric player on the team. I don't think he wins like English. It's going to be Sterling because of his work rate. English player of the tournament. I think Sterling was clearly the player of England. He only scored 3.
That's all. What?
Kane had 4.
Of 7?
What do you want? Whatever. Kane had 4. You know.
How many of those were against Ukraine?
Whatever. Kane had 4 goals. All right. Sterling was probably the player of the tournament for England. But Saka's right behind him. Saka was clearly the best young player that England had, and he was a spark plug for the team. Why is he not starting in the final?
Yeah.
Why didn't he play more? Why is he a late sub? Maybe you want to save him for the late legs, and if you want to save him for late legs, you don't bring him on with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah. I wonder if Gareth Southgate was just concerned about like the Italian defense and the skill and football intelligence of the Italian defense, and was concerned that Saka might not have the keys to unlock that at this point in his career.
So
maybe he doesn't, but maybe his talent just overcomes because he's so fast and so clever and makes runs that maybe 30-year-old ugly bald guys can't follow.
Well, that's what Sterling was supposed to do. That's why Sterling started on the right. But I think the more egregious part is, the most egregious part was not like Grealish didn't play, but like 3 subs.
Grealish.
Yeah.
Grealish would have been if Grealish had Saka's minutes, I think Grealish would have been that spark plug as well. Like
also, yeah,
England is super deep, but Grealish came on and unlocked a lot of things for England in that final.
I think the problem is that Grealish doesn't play for a top 6 club. That's his problem.
I think that's the issue. So when he gets his $100 million move to Man City, all of a sudden he's going to start just like Sancho. Sancho moves to Manchester United, and all of a sudden he's starting.
Yeah,
I do kind of just did start my public apology to Raheem Sterling. 2 weeks ago, I publicly stated that Raheem Sterling should be on the bench.
Yes, he did.
And he had no right to be in the team at all, I believe is what I said.
Very close to that, yeah.
And then just now admitted that he was clearly the England team's best player. No, but I say that and do want to apologize to him. But his work rate the entire tournament was just out of control. He was everywhere on the field. He was tracking back on defense. He was on the right, was on the left. They were moving like they were just rotating left to right when it was him and Saka or him and Foden or him and
Mount.
Well, no, it wasn't Mount. Who's the other one moving? But either way, it doesn't matter. But they were just moving either side of Kane and just with fluidity, and it worked. And it's because of Sterling's work rate. I do owe him a huge apology.
It'll be really interesting how that works out in the club season coming up. The fluidity between Kane and Sterling is what I'm talking about.
You picked the wrong blue.
I did want to give one final shout out of the English clubs or the English players in their clubs. Calvin Phillips played amazing.
He had a good tournament.
He took his price tag up a lot, or he's going to be a Leeds legend. Well, one of the two, because Leeds is not a small club. No. I'm well aware of that. I'm sure they have the capital to keep him if he wants to stay there.
Historically, they're not a small club, but when you get almost
you get almost in the 3rd division,
you get almost administrated on, like you almost go into bankruptcy. Yeah. It's hard to recover from that.
Sure. Yeah. But he played amazing.
He had a great tournament.
He was a great tournament. Amazing. Calvin Phillips deserves a hats off.
So that's kind of that. Just kind of going over some of the awards, the final awards for the Euros. Cristiano Ronaldo won the Golden Boot. He had 5 goals and 1 assist.
No, he didn't. The own goal had 9 goals, so he won the Golden Boot.
I don't have a red card. I'm gonna give you a yellow card for that. I'm gonna give you a yellow card for that, Brad. That's a caution.
Own goals was got the Golden Boot.
You don't do that again, Brad. No more.
I did have a small bone to pick with the own goals.
Okay.
Sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Please do.
Not
actually
a lot
sponsored.
Of them. A lot of them weren't like true own goals, but I do agree that you can't give them to the kicker. Like it's one thing if
deflected.
like a deflection or like the one. I forget what 2 teams it was, but one where it hit off the post and then the back of the goalie that dove and missed it.
That's always tough.
You can't give it to the guy that kicked it, but it's tough to put it on the keeper for that.
That's football.
But that's the way it's ruled.
That's
like
football.
So there was a bunch of those, and it just happened to be the record-setting year.
Yeah,
but there was an abnormal amount of actual own goals where it was actually kicked in. Like there was a header in, right?
And
where he headed it backwards,
knocked it in too.
Oh, the goalie knocked it in. Yeah, there was about 3 or 4 of them that were just like, "What are you doing?"
He doesn't even catch it. He just goes pop.
The Spain one was bad. The Spanish own goal in the against Switzerland was bad. Pedri wins the Young Player of the Year. Young Player of the tournament.
Saka.
Agreed. It should have been Saka.
Here's where I compliment the Arsenal player. The second time, that should have been Saka. He was a lightning rod for England, and Petri was good. Like I'm not going to poop on Petri.
Yeah, he was clearly Spain's best player in my opinion.
You thought he was their best player?
I thought Spain was just not good.
Dave.
Really?
I thought Spain was not good this tournament.
Hot take.
I think he was their best player.
I thought Saka was amazing for England, and I hope that vote was close.
And then Donnarumma was the overall player of the tournament for.
I hate him.
All right. That's kind of all we had for the Euros. I think it was overall. I enjoyed the tournament. I thought it was a good tournament. It had everything. It had goals. It had own goals. It had a dude almost dying. It had a dude surviving. It had a Cinderella story from the dude's team who almost died. It was crazy. It was a good tournament. Shout out to Christian Eriksen. I'm very glad that you're alive. But yeah. It was super. Had hooliganism. The English
hooliganism.
The English fans were in prime.
English mode.
They turned it back 25 years and just went hog wild. It was a crazy tournament. It was good stuff.
All right.
Let's hope the World Cup next December or 2 Decembers from now it lives up to it. But yeah, let's move. Let's quickly talk about the Premier League.
Now we're back to the Premier League.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of going to be our trajectory for the end of for the next couple weeks in the summer until we get back to the Premier League game starting. But finally, it's officially happened, guys. It happened. Tottenham Hotspurs, they have a first team coach. It happened. Sean, how do you feel? What does this mean to have a first team coach finally for your football club? Tell us about Nuno. Tell us why you're excited. By the way, this could have been wrapped up in May because he was available in May.
100%.
I'm just saying.
And I have 2 questions. So after you tell us about how your feelings on Nuno, right? Would they be different if this was wrapped up in May? Ooh. That's the second part of the question.
Ooh.
All right.
It's an interesting question.
I mean, I'll just keep it brief because we went a little long on the Euros, but I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm just happy to have a manager at this point. Like, it went long enough where I'm like, we gotta sign somebody, damn it. God damn. Like, so
Spurs answer
it got
with it.
Yeah, it got to the point where I'm like, just sign somebody. Sign Ryan Mason. I don't care anymore.
Oh, man.
Sign somebody. So, but Nuno's a good manager. I mean, clearly he did a lot with a little at Wolves.
He'll have to do a lot with a little at Tottenham.
He'll have to do a lot with a little. So it's good preparation for what he's going to have to deal with at this godforsaken club.
He won't have the Portuguese national team to recruit from.
Well, we're going to get the Mexican national team when he gets the striker out of Wolves.
Jimenez.
For cheap. Yeah, Jimenez, when it gets him for cheap because his neck's finally getting healed back together, I guess.
That was a horrible injury.
Yeah, but he's good now. I saw him practicing, so hopefully we can get him. Clearly, he's an incredible footballer, so I would love to have him on Hotspurs. Jimenez, if you're listening to the podcast,
is that a is that a direct replacement?
Please come to London.
Is that a direct replacement for Harry Kane?
So you're saying Harry Kane is gone?
Yes. No, I did see a report by Fabrizio Romano, who is a really reliable Tottenham reporter, that said that every manager that they talked to was told that Kane is not going anywhere. So I tend to believe that when Fabrizio tweets it.
I appreciate that you said Fabrizio was a Tottenham reporter when he's just like everyone.
Everywhere.
He's tier 1 everywhere.
Yeah, he's either tier 1 or tier 2 on every
he's a Tottenham reporter.
Wait, hold on. You know he's Italian, right?
Yeah, he was celebrating last night.
Just saying, like.
Pretty sure he's not a Tottenham reporter.
You know he doesn't. I'm just saying he's Italian. I just want you to know he's Italian. I know you have. I know you have feelings about Italians.
No, I don't have feelings about Italians. Just Giorgio Chiellini. And Donnarumma, because he kind of looks goofy too. I'm okay with Nuno. I'm okay with Nuno.
Yeah,
I'm just happy that we could start piecing together a team.
It seemed like the best signing that you guys could possibly have made in the circumstance that you were in. After being turned, clearly Conte was the best available manager this summer.
Yeah.
Zidane was the second best available manager this summer, in my opinion. Max Allegri was a great available manager this summer. But in early June, after all of these really good managers have turned you down, what are your options left? And Nuno is available. He's coached. He's managed in the Premier League successfully in the Premier League too. So I think it's a good signing.
But you never answered the second part of the question, Sean. Would you have felt better about this signing if it happened end of May?
Felt better?
Yes, instead of just being it's fine, been this is a good signing.
Would you have been excited about it?
Would you have been more excited or less excited?
See, that's a tough question because it's probably no.
You probably would have felt like Spurs should have tried harder to get someone bigger?
Yes. The answer to that is probably no.
Okay.
I'm fine with it now, but that's because we shot for the big fish and did not get them. So we're settling on the next best.
Okay.
Which is fine. But if we would have went for Nuno first, that would have made me feel like we're shooting for Scott Parker.
Okay.
Listen, it's in the club's DNA.
If Scott Parker ever listens to this podcast, I'm going to get some nasty DMs.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from Tottenham, unless you have anything else, Sean. Okay.
Just sign some players.
Yeah. Well, you got to sell some players first.
Yeah, sell some first.
Got to get that net spend down.
Net zero United.
Speaking of signed players, Arsenal have signed a player. Actually, it looks like it's going to be 2 players here shortly. Nuno Tavares from Benfica, $8 million. He's a backup left back for Arsenal now, backing up Kieran Tierney. What?
That was one of mine. It was on my list of.
You're saying we need a left back? Yeah, I agreed with you. I agreed with you that we need a left back.
I'm just letting people know I was right.
And then Lukongo from Anderlecht seems like that's going to be happening as well. But honestly, the biggest Arsenal news, hands down, the biggest Arsenal news, boys, all or nothing is coming back to North London.
I'm using my red card.
All or nothing, Arsenal.
Who cares? Who cares?
Bro,
Does anybody care about this?
This has the potential to be like the most interesting all or nothing, I think, because Arsenal are so dysfunctional. It can
There's nothing to play for.
It can either go one of two ways, like either Arsenal take like the fact that we're only playing in domestic competitions and do really well this year and we're title challengers, and that's an interesting look at it, or we're still as bad as we are and it's just hilariously it's just hilariously bad. Josh Kroenke shows up midway through the season acting like he's an owner that cares. It could be really fun. Yeah, that's the Arsenal update. Brad, what's going on with Chelsea?
We're gonna sign a striker of some kind. Either Mr. Kane or Holland.
Are you signed, sealed, deliver? You're signing one of those two players?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you just sounded pretty confident.
When the yacht pulls up, Roman's got to buy a river yacht, so he can get down to Holland. But
well, he didn't show. Holland didn't show for Dortmund's practice today.
Ooh, starting. The opening bids go. No, we are starting a striker of some kind. Nothing yet, which makes me happy because when Chelsea's quiet, that means big things are happening.
Ooh,
something.
Here's
Marina is a beast. Yeah, it's sad. It's so sad.
You got one.
He's a beast. He's the best. He's the best striker.
What do you need a striker for? You got Olivier Giroud.
At present, he's your best center forward. And that's not a debatable fact. That's a true.
I mean, I thought we've had this conversation before.
That's a truthful statement. I mean, it's laughable that Olivier Giroud is your best center forward, but it's just factually true.
Yes.
Why are you selling him then?
Upgrades have to happen. Jorginho can't be our leading goal scorer next year.
You're gonna make that upgrade with $2 million in the transfer.
Oh, I'm sorry. We don't care about net spend over here.
Money doesn't matter to Chelsea.
Big Roman don't care.
Speaking of money doesn't matter.
He said $2 million. That's enough to fill up my yacht. We good. We take that. That's okay.
Yeah, money also doesn't matter to Manchester United, Sean.
Yeah. Speaking of money doesn't matter, Sancho and Varane coming.
Varane hasn't been signed yet.
Okay,
he's coming.
Yeah,
it hasn't been confirmed.
There's a couple of clubs in on him.
Well, Sancho's coming for 100. Varane, I think, was
40.
It was close 40, 50, 60. Somewhere around there.
I think the problem is with Varane is that
just getting up there in age, right?
Madrid don't have a lot of leverage here. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and if they don't sell him this year, he walks for free next year. So
you mean PSG don't have?
No, he's
Madrid. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I misheard.
I said Madrid, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did. I misheard and heard. I don't know why I heard Manchester.
Okay.
When you said that.
Yeah, and so I think that's the concern for Madrid, and I mean I'm sure they need money. COVID hit everyone, so.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, I think that there hasn't really been too much going on in the Premier League. I mean, some of the clubs have signed players.
Tottenham's back training.
So is Chelsea. Is Emile Smith-Rowe still in an Arsenal kit?
Yeah, bro, he's in Scotland right now with Arsenal in our training camp in Scotland.
I was just seeing if a third bid came through. Yeah, I think they're preparing a third bid.
I heard Aston Villa. Yeah, I heard Aston Villa's preparing a third bid. I heard Arsenal is going to respond with an $8 million bid for Jack Grealish. And then they'll submit a second bid of $8 million and £1.
Look how salty this is making Sir Tiffany. This is making him so salty.
I'm not salty about it. It's just stupid. Aston Villa is wasting their time, and I'm okay with Aston Villa wasting their time.
But listen, if they're making an official bid, it means there has to be something to it. You don't just throw a bid out.
They value the player, they rate the player, and they think that they can get him from Arsenal. So there's speculation that I've heard is that Smith Rowe's agent is using this as leverage to get more money for Smith Rowe out of Arsenal. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true, but I could see an agent doing that.
Or maybe Emmy's on the phone hey, water's warm over here, buddy. The water's real warm over here.
I miss Emmy Martinez. He's a good guy. Yeah, I don't know, but it's not going to happen. Yes, and Smith Rowe is going to sign his contract extension here very shortly. You can
Arsenal can get some more money from Aston Villa.
you can put that on the paper, Sean. Is that Arsenal are
Sheet of integrity.
they're gonna extend Emil Smith Rowe here very shortly. But yeah, that's all we got for tonight. I think we kept it under an hour, very close. Yeah, so we'll be back here in 2 weeks. If you guys have any interesting talking points, but I think we will have preseason games to dissect in 2 weeks' time. I know Arsenal play one on Tuesday of next week, so I don't know when your teams start playing preseason games.
We all play each other this preseason, so that will be very interesting for the three of us.
That's in August, though. I'm saying we're still in July, Brad. We need content for our podcast in 2 weeks.
Our team's still relaxing because we played so long. Champions League.
Yeah, okay,
and,
cool. Yeah.
Jorginho for Ballon d'Or.
All right. Well, we need to get out of this podcast before Brad says any more inflammatory things. But as always, the man making crazy comments over here in this direction is at KSBradG. He's our Chelsea delusional person. Down below us is our Tottenham guy. That's at Whiteheart_Sean. I'm at James Tiffany. And we collectively are at redcard_radio. Feel free to hit us up on Twitter. Those are all Twitter handles. If you're on the YouTube, like it, comment, subscribe, and share it with a friend. If you're on any of our podcast sites, review it, share it with a friend. Do whatever you can do on podcasts. Give us a 5-star. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you don't, I hope part of the end of the tube of your toothpaste gets a little crusty, and then it comes out really weird when you're trying to put it on your toothbrush.
Dang. Okay, so that is a mild inconvenience. That's a
definitely mild inconvenience. It's a good one there.
But yeah, that's all we have for tonight. We really appreciate it. You guys have a good evening. Good night.